Okay, so currently live. Let's go through and refresh that real quick. Oh, okay, so that is working. And it's just me fucking around because, well, if I'm going to talk to myself like I normally do, might as well put a little bit of it online. All right, hold on a second. We're going to go back to this because I don't need to see my avatar. And let's just screw around for a bit. And like I said, talk to myself since it's really about anything. Hell, I probably ought to go through and tweet this out. So let's go there again. And yeah, really professional, really great start to doing this, being like, yeah, I'm going to go and try my own dumbass luck stream and then not do fuck all about it. And so go ahead and try to share this. Twitter. To myself. Fuck, I don't really care. This is just me being dumb and screwing with this, at least from what it sounds like. My voice doesn't sound absolutely fucking terrible. Oh, so there we go. So having the fun with it, just going through a test stream and that whole thing at Wire Too Long. Figured I'd talk about something that I always enjoy talking about to myself, that I tend to talk the most about. And that whole thing is just some of the things I'd like to be seen done with firearms. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that I want manufacturers to do specific. Well, I do want manufacturers to do specific things, but I'm not talking about anything to be really law based. It's just certain things I'd love to see them do for no reason. It'd be really good for training, plausibly really good for new shooters, and that would be bringing up some different calibers in there that typically aren't considered your typical like bolt action rifle. Like some people could probably call me crazy for it and be like, "Oh, that's heresy for suggesting I think we ought to make some pistol caliber carbines in it's like a 9mm carbine bolt action rifle that accepts Glock max." And hold on a second. Escape options audio. Oh shit, we're gonna bring that down dramatically. Bring on. Make that even 20. Why? Just because, like I said, it'd be one of those things to be kind of fun. It'd make it something that you could actually use predominantly, because considering the fact your next cheapest other than going with a rimfire, so going with a legit center fire cartridge, so that way it's more reliable than a rimfire, because they don't necessarily want to do the proper things to make rimfire reliable, because, well, that costs money. Dang it, I know I forgot to do something. How to get to my crude oil. So I'm pretty sure I don't have anybody actually watching this. Yeah, I'm watching myself currently. Got it. So quite literally, this is just me talking to myself. And fuck, I don't know where the hell I was going from here. If we look at the most predominant one that most people would look at for a bolt action rifle, that would be something you could kind of hunt with, kind of plink with. Some people would say 308 in a bolt action. That actually kicks way more than people think, especially with a lighter gun, which is what a lot of people are going to want in that whole thing. So the next best thing you can go to is a 5.56 223. Well, like I said, if they made a 9mm variant and a couple current others that I wouldn't mind seeing, it would make it a lot easier for them to do a few things and currently, 100 rounds of 9mm is still cheaper than 100 rounds of 5.56, 223. 100 rounds of 9mm is going to run you about what, $50-$60 US for those who are in the US and can do this. Everything else is just going to, I still think like 20 rounds is damn near going for like 20, just under $20. So times that by 5, you're looking at $100. I mean, I don't really think it's going to kick too much. It's a fucking 9mm. Yes, it's going to be great for training comparatively, but it's not always what everyone's looking into. That's usually the biggest thing about 22 that everyone always wants to point out for for any rimfire cartridges. You have to look at what ammo you're firing through it. So are you firing good quality ammunition is usually the thing you hear. And it's like, well, I just want cheap range ammo. And 22 is still pretty inexpensive. It's still somewhat easier to find, but you also have the higher plausibility of running into things that are going to be an issue. And that, because you could get that shit's bad ammo or shit's just not fucking going right because it's sat wrong, for fuck's sake. Okay, I need to take this and then two things here. Fuck, where to go with this? Alright, I need some fluid buffers. I'm gonna throw you over here. Add another one here. And that should be enough for now. And yeah, it was stream, talk randomly and then lose your train of thought mid-sentence. Well, again, this is just a test stream, and this is me talking to myself, and this is my actual legitimate conscious of how it goes. So for the me who's watching in the future, because I'll replay this to see how I like it, because I'm going to go for about a half hour to pretty much try to kill some nerves and get past me being a dumbass, which is just bound to happen. Not everyone can just come out here and talk. Not everyone's Adonis Paul or Ranting Monkey. I don't have to Adonis Paul, but I know Ranting Monkey can do that. He'll come fucking start a stream with nothing and keep going and see I go into something else. It wasn't even what I was talking about. Got some dead air. Put it up there. Fluid buffer so I can gather this until I can get the shit to turn it to refine it. Because yeah, me talking to myself, doing absolutely nothing. I'll go back to the fucking topic at hand that I was originally talking about for absolutely no reason other than, well, I felt like it. But yeah, I would love to see some of these firearms companies go through, like, make a 9mm. In all reality, the ones I'd like to see is like the 9 at the most. Some would be pretty cool to have like a 10mm or 45 ACP. I wouldn't really recommend doing a 40 Smith & Wesson because since it'd be a bolt gun and your semi-auto 10mm can typically pretty reliably fire 40 Smith & Wesson, it's kind of pointless. And I need some water. So there'd really be no point. You'd already be able to do that. I mean, I think Ruger would be the best to make the bolt action, make a Ruger American that takes the 9mm. You've already got the chambers bored out because of the 350 Legend. Just shorten that. I shouldn't say the chamber, but the barrels, the bore for it. Shorten that chamber down to a 9mm. Let it extract on that. Do it like you did the PC chargers. That way you could just swap out the magwell from going from like the Ruger Security 9 Ruger Americans and Security 9s to like Glock, and have it that it'll accept these small 10-round magazines, because then you can go nowhere but up. And it'll give some people stuff that they can actually still practice with. It's going to change some of the things they do, but a lot of other things would be the same. If someone wants to have like a Ruger American, be like, well, I'd like to have this the same setup is, well, my hunting rifle that's in a 350 Legend but doesn't take a AR mag, or is in a 308 or a 270 or a 243, and any of those different ones, and be like, oh, okay, we can do that. We'll just give it an internal mag. You only be able to put like 3-4 rounds into it, which you're only gonna be able to put with, depend on the caliber, most guns. So it's just something you'd go through, and it'd take a little going through, but eventually you'd be able to make it and to go through it. And like I said, I think it would be something to be very good to do for a lot of different reasons. And I'm explaining it fucking poorly. Because, like usual, I have all the passion at work when I'm having this because I'm talking to nobody, and it's in a fucking 150 plus decibel thing where you're required to wear or earplugs so you don't ruin your hearing, which mine's already pretty much fucking trash to begin with. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, pretty much what it would end up coming down to, what I would love to see firearms manufacturers do is, then eventually Ruger take like Marlin, and then Winchester get in on it, and Henry get in on it, and make some pistol caliber carbines and for the lever guns in like the 9mm, 10mm, 45 ACP. I just think it'd be a fun thing to do. But Henry, since they already do make a 5.56 223 lever gun, it's like, bro, get rid of the proprietary mag, figure out a way to short action it to hold at least the 20 round flat, or it's like AR Sten mags. You switch it to that, I'm pretty sure you will have even a lot of the AR fanboys go fucking nuts for it. Because in all of the anti-gunner states, they're usually not as okay, or it's like bad on those, but you can still get the 5-round mag, the 10-round mag. So if they're going to do a mag limit, you can still do those. But if you go to other states, you could have the other mags there. Because then they could also go through and start freaking make one of those like they should in a 300 Blackout. Because then eventually they could make the Mare's Leg variant of it. This is just me wanting weird guns in a lot of cases for no reason other than I think it's something they should do. I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to like different things. It might not sell well. You could go through and do it in smaller lots. That's like the one thing I still think majority of any manufacturer should do, is if they're going to go through and be like, hey, this video game has a copy of our gun that's just been changed a little bit in some way of manufacturing. Where? Go with that one. Shit, what was I talking about? Oh, basically different calibers, and putting things that would be considered traditionally like pistol calibers into that. Because I think it'd be awesome to eventually have it. Hey, we have this, 9mm or 10mm fucking Mare's Leg that's, hey, by the way, it's mag fed with this short throw action. Is it the greatest thing? No, but it would give people a different option. I still think they need to go through and make a pump variation of it like that. The pump and bolt action would be the two easiest ones to make a 9mm rifle out of. And predominant, like I said, if you're going to do that, you'd be doing it strictly for training. I shouldn't say strictly for training, because it is something that a lot of people need to work on. And myself included, I am not the best, but I am by no means the worst. Check this. Packager. We are going to go with what do I need for this? That's where I need to get to that. But if I get to you, That'll give me something I can do. So we're going to go with you first. I guess I'm just kind of weird and wanting to see things happen that really have no reason to need to happen. Again, it's just because I think it would be cool. I will come back to you later. So I need 25 of you. How many of those could I make? Crap, where'd you go? 13. Now let's go get some fire. Yeah, it's just something I do think would be neat. Mainly because I'm a weird person. Like eventually I need to get off, well, I shouldn't say eventually. I need to get off my ass and get gunsmithing or get into gunsmithing so I can start doing that to eventually create my own gun. Because I'm a bit of a 357 Magnum fanboy, and I would love to see a good pump come up for the 357 Magnum because, well, they don't bring those near as much. And typically about everything else done for those is a lever gun. Then Ruger has that one bolt gun, which I do own, and it's a damn good rifle. God, Ruger makes some great stuff. And if you wonder why I bring them up the most, because they're actually the company that I own the most firearms from, because they're just a damn good company. Holy fuck, is Ruger awesome. Why the hell did I come up here? This might hurt. Smith doesn't make any lever guns, but they don't make bolt action, so it'd be kind of pointless. You know, Smith only has its semi-automatic of an AR platform. They don't even make some of the old rifles they used to, which were predominantly 22s. Remington's pretty much pointless anymore because they really don't make anything because they're pretty much gone. Well, I've heard since whoever bought them now has done pretty decent. I do know that Ruger now owns Marlin, at least last I knew. So it'd just be one of those things that I honestly would like to see. There's absolutely no reason for it other than it pretty much just gives people more things to choose from. A 16-inch barreled 9mm pump action rifle. Is it necessary? No. But MagFed, you could go through it, easily do it. And if people wanted to, they could use that because it's going to look more like a traditional rifle. They could use that for home defense. Fuck, I still need more. Okay. Let's go ahead and just knock out these ones real quick. I think I need more of the modular frames. If someone even does come to see this, they're just going to be like, oh, you're slightly insane when you talk to yourself. And like, yes, I'm still a person who with the manufacturing plant I work at, well, the factory, since we do aerosol cans, and when I work the depalletizer, I'm yelling at cans to stand like they're fucking children. So probably a little bit, but that's just the way I am. All right, go ahead and sort. Yeah, I gotta stop freaking just sitting here not talking and that whole thing. But like I said, I got to get over this eventually, and maybe next time I'll actually get some better topics for myself other than just something I've thought about, thought would be cool, thought it'd be cool to talk about. But honestly, it's something that for me to talk about, I'd really need another person who's more into firearms, or at least has a halfway centered thing. Because that's like, I still think one of the main things that Magnum Research, or is really Weapon Industries, should do, that they probably never will, it would actually help them quite a bit, would be to take the full-size Desert Eagle that everyone knows, that everyone knows of, that's made in the 50 Action Express. It was originally made in the 357 Magnum, and they made a 41 Magnum, or the 44 Magnum, and they ended up making I think a 41 Action Express to eventually make the 50 Action Express. That way they could go through and have a 50 caliber, or it's like a 50 caliber handgun to basically make it the most powerful semi-automatic handgun. And what's funny is the way they went about that was just saying, well, we're going to take the same case, or not case diameter, but neck diameter of the SKU. I'll do that in a bit. But I'm using the same case head of the 44 Magnum, but since it did that, since they went to a 50 caliber, it made the rim smaller, therefore making it cycle better. But Jesus Christ, none of them cycle perfectly. Hell, for mine, because I own an L5 Desert Eagle. The damn thing is finickier than shit. Does not like low powered, or it's like considered like somewhat lower powered ammunition. I got a fucking Hornady. I think it's 124 grain or 125 grain. Fuck, I don't know where the box is at. It'll fire it, but it won't cycle it. So it just goes through and jams on it. But then I got this 180 grain bear load, apparently, from what it's being called. And dear Christ, does it say it rarely ever fails with that, which is a good thing. But I mean, hell, if you're going to buy yourself a Magnum Research, Desert Eagle, I want to say it's in the paperwork, but you can look it up online of, hey, here are the recommended loadouts. And not even just recommended loadouts. Here's the specific round from these manufacturers that is most likely to function properly. Not function perfectly, just function properly. It's still going to fail. But it's a gas-operated system comparatively to the tilt barrel or twist barrel or pinned barrel blowback that all your other semi-auto handguns are. The only other gun that's been able to do that to where it's like, oh, we're a gas operated, if memory serves me correctly. I know it's an H&K, but I wouldn't say it was the P7. Otherwise, the same gun Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman's character in the first Die Hard movie, used as a pistol. So like, go him for choice of, or for the armor for the choice of that had the squeeze cocker. And I do think they could make these guns more reliable. The big thing about them is, they're a Desert Eagle. They're known strictly for their looks and everything. But if they took that said pistol and reduced it in size, like no more than 30% overall, I think, and you get it to chamber the 10 millimeter and the 45 ACP, and you do the same thing you've done with the full-size Desert Eagles, to where you can like change out your bolt, your barrel, and your mag, and boom, you can shoot a whole new caliber. Because then eventually you could do it, hey, we also have that you can shoot the 50 GI. Maybe the 357 SIG, if they want to, they could head towards the 9 millimeter. I don't think it'd be worth it. I think the 10 millimeter and the 45 ACP eventually get, I think it's like the 45 Maxi Mag, or the 45 ACP, or the 45 Magnum. I can't remember what it's called, where they basically welded damn near in a way to like 1911 together to have a longer, more powered 45, and there to be like, we're gonna use this to be more powerful, because the one predominantly known as the Grizzly for a 1911, fired that. But you do it where it can do those things. And I think with those semi-auto cartridges, since the semi-auto specs, they're already a semi-auto cartridge, they're going to be more reliable than the and loadout. And I think by reducing in size, they could do that. And then you drop about $200 to $300 off it, because a regular Desert Eagle is going to go anywhere from about $1,200 to like $1,400, depending on which one you get. And that's like $1,200 for the bare basic one. But if you go to those ones, you could sell it for like it's like $700 to, it's like $900, depending on which one you're going to go with. A little more if you're going to do more caliber conversions. But it's going to give people another option for basically like a bougie 45 ACP or a bougie 10 millimeter that you could technically use for hunting, because since it's a gas operated, the barrel, even though it's removable, doesn't move near as much as the other ones, which really isn't going to change your aim except for in longer distances. But it's still things that you can go and do. I got about another 7 minutes, and then I'm going to call this thing a wrap and try to relax, because my nerves are ridiculous. I probably sound like absolute dog crap. Yeah, I'm going to say dog crap and not just say dog shit, because whatever. This is me talking to myself for no reason, finally putting some thoughts out into instead of just the ether, into the world, onto the internet. And I figured I'd talk about guns for a bit, and maybe one of these days I can get some of my friends that I knew in the military come on here and talk to them. Maybe get a couple other YouTubers that I know, get to BS with them about guns, maybe ask them some questions or something, and just do like a 20, 30 minute, maybe an hour long stream, and then go about my day. So screw it, I'm just going to call it now. Well, this has been me talking to myself, doing a test stream. For anyone who may watch in the future, since I was the only one watching it myself, leave a comment if you so choose. I'm going to try to start doing this more regularly. I will probably try to do something with OBS and probably Streamlabs OBS or OBS in general. I'm still trying to learn more about it. But this is me doing it myself and going damn near a half hour off my generic rambling. I mean, normally my generic rambling, I can go for much longer and I just get sidetracked, but I'm not doing as well right now because nerves and everything. But if you do watch in the future and you don't think I'm absolutely insane, that I'm just odd, well, I appreciate it. And if you feel so inclined, you may hit the like button. And like I said, hopefully I'll be able to do more and maybe even have some people watch and try to throw some things out there and bring some people on and get to talk with some folks. Other than that, hope everybody who may or may not see this in the future a wonderful night. I may end up just privating this and saying fuck it, but I'll leave it up for like a week or so. But have yourself a wonderful night or day or week, and shit, I don't know where to go from this other than to really say bye. But hope everyone does well. Actually go out there and try to do some things. Y'all have a good one, folks.